Angela, thanks for being with us this morning. Um,
Oh,
I know that you got a limited amount of time here, so I won't be my long give you my long teacher spiel. But
okay.
one of the things I wanted to do was to get an opportunity to share some of your thoughts that we chatted about when I first met you.
Okay. Um, well, first of all, I'll say that I am a postdoctoral researcher at the Human Evolution Center in Leipzig, Germany. I'm obviously American, but I have lived abroad now for about 7 years doing research there, and I'm a zooarchaeologist. So I'm basically an archaeologist who looks at animal bones and how humans and animals have lived together over the last hundreds of thousands of years. So that's the research that I do basically. And yeah, my background, I'm 36 years old now. I have a PhD from a university in the UK, and I got my first bachelor's degree when I was 28. And so I've had a kind of strange, winding path of education. I went, like a lot of people, when I was 18, I got out of high school and I thought, oh, I guess I'm supposed to go to university. So I went to a 4-year university and I didn't make it even through my first year. I was confused. I was 18. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was taking all sorts of classes and all sorts of different general classes, more specific classes. And I took a summer Shakespeare class where we had to recite a Shakespearean sonnet every single morning that we had was supposed to be memorized the night before. And I thought, I don't, maybe education isn't for me. And I quit 4-year university in the very first year. And after that, I went and took on 3 jobs. I was bartending, I was a cocktail server, I was working at restaurants, I was working at clothing stores, I was all over the place. And in between there, I was taking a class or two here and there at community colleges, 4 community colleges in total over the 2 states that I lived in, Nevada and Oregon. And I took some business classes, I took biology classes, I took all sorts of classes, and I was all over the place and just thinking, I don't know, maybe this education thing isn't for me. But then, eventually I made it to where I am now. I can tell you more about that journey if you're interested in the details of that.
What I'd like to know is when you made that decision to change your path, what
So
happened?
right. So what happened for me is I am from a family where neither one of my parents have a university degree. They cared about education, but they didn't really know how to direct me or how to help me get into higher education if that's what I was interested in doing. So they were a little bit kind of helpless when it came to that. My high school counselors were, I remember them saying, so you're going to go to university, right? And I just thought, oh, I guess. I think that's what you're supposed to do, so I guess that's what I'll do. But I didn't have really a lot of direction, kind of helping me figure out university. And so, like I said, I went to this 4-year university, and I didn't last very long. And then, I took on lots of jobs. I moved around, and I was always kind of taking one class here or there in a community college. And actually, I found that I really liked the community college setting because it felt like kind of less pressure, and also I was surrounded by people there who were older than me, who were younger than me, who were a lot of other people like me, who were working multiple full-time jobs at the same time as taking classes, and I got the opportunity to kind of tiptoe into different kind of majors. So I took some business classes, I took biology classes, I took English classes. I thought I might be a psychology major. I thought I might do this. And so I got the chance to kind of do a little taster of everything. And what eventually happened after doing years of community college is I started taking some anthropology classes. And as soon as I started taking anthropology classes, then something clicked, and I realized that what I had been missing wasn't that I wasn't a good student or that university education wasn't for me. It's that I hadn't found yet what I was passionate about and what was really interesting and exciting to me. All the other things I'd done, I thought, okay, these are okay, but I'm kind of just doing it to get the credits and to pass the classes and to try to move forward in some direction, which it was, and I eventually built up enough credits to have an associate's degree. And then when I discovered anthropology, I thought, oh, this is what was missing, is finding that thing that you're really passionate about and that you're really interested in. And the whole time I was doing in community colleges, I thought, maybe it's just community colleges that I like, and I don't like the 4-year university experience. Maybe that's really not for me. And as soon as I discovered that anthropology is something that I was really interested in, and that as I had more experience in community college and the university setting, I realized that all these goals that I thought were harder and harder and harder in university education came closer and closer and closer and easier. And as soon as I found anthropology, I realized like a 4-year university, I could easily do this at a 4-year university. I've already done multiple anthropology classes, and so I enrolled in the 4-year university. That was after doing who knows how many years of various community college credits. I enrolled in a 4-year university and kept doing anthropology. And, you know, so I thought, okay, at first, community college was the first step in, okay, making me comfortable with education and how to figure this whole thing out. And then I moved on to the 4-year university, which when I was in community college, I thought, oh, that's going to be difficult. And then I did that, and I thought, okay, you know, once I got my bachelor's degree, I thought, okay, that wasn't as hard as I thought. I can do this. I can figure it out, even though I don't have a lot of help with my family knowing what to do and having done it before. I just did it. I figured it out. And then the next step was, I have no idea about graduate school. How do I do that? And I have no help there. And I thought that was impossible. And then I just did it. I figured it out. You know, it was shaky at first. I don't really know how to do it. And then, you know, eventually all the things education-wise that I thought were difficult and I was never going to be able to figure out, I just tried it. And eventually, you know, it was shaky at first. You know, I was working full-time. I had all these other kind of responsibilities, and I didn't really have a good background family-wise on how to do this. But I eventually figured it out. So that's kind of my background. And now I have a PhD, which I think a lot of people in my family are kind of like, how did that happen? Last time I looked, you were a cocktail server, bartender at Chili's. I feel like if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Let me ask you an off-the-wall question.
Right.
Do you make more money now than when you were a cocktail waitress?
Well, archaeology isn't exactly a money maker. I probably should have been some kind of like civil engineer or a chemist or something. I have to say, being a cocktail server and bartender in Las Vegas, it's hard to top that sometimes. But the point is, I feel like I'm happier now and that I accomplished something, and that when I think about the 18-year-old who was dropping out of university and thought, like, I can't do this because I just don't have the background for it. I'm not from a wealthy family. I'm not from a highly educated family. I'm not coming from this kind of situation where it's just assumed that I'll go to university and that I'll succeed. And maybe it's just not for me because I don't come from that background. And now, you know, I have a PhD and I have a job at a kind of prestigious university or prestigious research institute. And I see people all around me who come from really similar backgrounds. And I think that if I would have thought about doing this at 18, there's no way I would have immediately just quit and said, I can't, that's impossible for me. That's impossible. And the goal is like every class I finished, every grade I got, every test I took, every paper I wrote, even if it was hard and I struggled through it, when I got to the end of it and the class finished or I got my grade back on some exam, I realized like, oh, I just did it. Maybe I didn't get the best grade every time, or maybe I didn't write the best paper every time, but every time I hit some kind of goal post, I thought, oh, I can do all these things like that I thought I couldn't do. I thought, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to write a paper. Like when they say an intro, conclusion, and supporting evidence, I thought, I have no idea what that is. I don't even know where to begin. But I would do it. Sometimes I would fail horribly. I would get feedback from my professors and think like, okay, next time I know how to write a paper now.
Outstanding. So what you're saying is that you took baby steps along the way to get to the
Baby
big leap.
steps. Lots of baby steps, lots of falling, lots of quitting, lots of coming back and going back, and eventually just realizing, like, okay, I can do this. It's not about my background. It's not about people telling me I can do it or people kind of pushing me into it. I'm doing this now for myself, and maybe I'm going to school with, 18-year-olds and I'm a 28-year-old person. Fine, this is my path, my journey. I'm figuring it out the way that I'm going to figure it out, and eventually you kind of get to where you're going. It's just steps, one class at a time, one assignment at a time, one exam at a time, and eventually you hit on something that's really interesting to you, and then you just kind of set your sights on that and go for it.
It's outstanding. Angela, I want to thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope some other people can take something from it and hear some kind of familiar parts to their stories as well.
Bye-bye.
All right, great, bye.